So back inside our sidebar component, I have already added all of these input fields, so we don't have to waste time writing them. And you can download them from this course, it will be available. So let me just briefly explain what we have here. Well, we have this form and we have these templates first, so let's start from the template. We have this new directive, vslot, where basically we are telling where we want to render this part of code here. And we have this header as a name that we have to specify here, and this name is this name of our slot here. And we also have for our body here, so everything that we have inside this template part will be rendered inside our slot of our child component. So except for that, we have a form here that I want to submit, but I want to prevent this default behavior, and I want to call this method that we haven't defined, and we will do this together. And we also have this ref here, which allows us to define a reference to this HTML element so that we can programmatically access this element. It is essentially the same way as if we, for example, did document.getElementID, but you will see how we can also do it with ref. And then we have some basic information here. For example, fill out details below. We have a couple of inputs for every field that we have inside our form. And for actors, well, we have to loop our actors array. So if you see here, we have an array. So we have to loop, and then we have a plus here to add new actor. And we also have this add actor method that I haven't defined, so let's also do it together. And then here we just have a basic loop, and we are binding this with the index inside form.actors. So nothing fancy here. And then lastly, we have our text area. So if we save and if we go here, so let's check how this component looks like now. So we have, well, these details here. We have this plus, which doesn't work because we don't have this method defined. And we have this add button here. So let's go here. And by the way, one more thing that I haven't mentioned because I forgot. So inside here, I had to fix this class, this slot name here. It was written wrongly, so our styles are now applied properly. And then, well, the last thing, we have this close modal here, but I also want to have a button that will actually close this modal as well. So inside footer, outside of our slot, I want to have a button, and let's say close here. And when we click on this button, I just want to emit close here. So essentially it does the same thing as this part here, as our function. And if we refresh, well, we now have two buttons, and when we click, it closes down. Okay, so back here, let's add these two new methods. I will collapse this data. So methods, and let's have add actor, which essentially just pushes another object inside our actors array. So this dot form dot actors dot push, and just an object that has a name inside. Okay, so now if we press add, well, we have another actor to specify here, but our close button is missing. Okay, so now it's here. Anyways, fine. So and also what we need, well, we need this add movie method that we have on our, well, form here. So let's go here, and I want to take this event, and I want to prevent this event one more time. So prevent default, so we don't actually submit the form, as its native behavior. And here I want to call an action inside our store. But we first actually have to define this part in our store. And well, the last thing also that I want to do here is, since our button to submit this form is outside of our form here, this button, when we click on it, will not actually trigger this form to submit. So we have to force the submission of our form. And that is why we have this ref here. Because with ref, we can target this form and actually submit it. So when we click on this button, access refs that we have on our view instance, and we can call movie form. That's the name of our reference here. And on this, where was it? Here. So on here, we can call this request submit method that will actually submit our form. So if we, well, let's just log here, so we are sure. So submit, and let's log, so this dot form. So if we save and we go here, so let's open developer tools and let's add some information here. Doesn't have to be accurate, we're just testing. And let's add another actor. And if we add this form, well, we have some log here. And we can see that all of our form is filled, which is good. So the only thing that we have to do is we have to define our state now. We have to add some couple of new actions, mutations, and so on.